Morning. Today is day one, and I'm gonna start getting ready for my day. It's about 8 in the morning, so I've got a few hours before I have class later in the day, so I'm gonna get a few things ready, try to figure out what I want to do, and let's get started. Alright, I got a couple things ready, so now I'm gonna sit down at my current setup and get things going. Alright, so I'm installing Unity, because that's going to be the game engine I choose to use. I may have to install an older version as well, because I want to use some old code that I haven't touched in years. So I think that'll help me with the development process, because some of the systems I want to implement in this game are going to be similar to that old game I made 5 years ago. So I'm going to have to go find that. Aha! I found the jackpot. This was the source code for The Wild, my old game. So here's my Unity version. I had some development software I wrote to help me with this. So this will be good. Visual Studio's installing, and so is Unity. And while I'm waiting, I'm gonna go get breakfast. While I'm driving, let's discuss art style. There's kind of 3 ways I'd be comfortable going with this, and due to the time limit, one of them is the most viable option considering my experiences with them. So the 3 options I'm thinking are: 1, I do it in 2D and make it a pixel art game, which would be cool, but I'm not sure how much I could get done with that. 2, I go like low poly and have like low poly models, and I'd have to learn Blender, which is not a huge fan of. I'm not very good at Blender. It's been years since I've touched it. And 3, I do it as voxel art. Voxel art is the option I'm leaning more towards, purely because I used to do a lot of voxel art when I worked on Minecraft servers. So that would make it a lot easier for me to get jump started on it. So I'm gonna lean more towards that one, although when it comes to character models, that's always a nightmare. But that just means I won't have any crazy moving stuff that easily. But that's a trade-off I'm willing to make, considering the time constraint that I'm giving myself, to see if it's a viable option. Alright, so I just got breakfast, totally forgot to record. Day in the life of an idiot, I guess. So now I'm gonna head back to my car and get back to my apartment quick so I can get some work done. While I'm driving home, let me discuss some of my expectations. I'm not expecting a perfectly functional game. I'm expecting a demo with maybe 1 or 2 areas that gets the point across of what I kind of expect out of this game, to see if it's a viable option. So what my plan is I'm probably just going to create maybe a tutorial and maybe the first area. So get an idea of what the controls are, get an idea of how the game is going to function, and get an idea of how it will work. That's my main goal. The first area I'm thinking will be kind of like a dungy swamp like I showed yesterday in Minecraft, and that should give me a good basis for what I want to base this off of. And I'm thinking it'll be like kind of like a maze where you have enemies that you have to defeat, and I have an idea for a little side quest that you can do that may give some sort of reward, and all of it is based off of an experience I had when I was little. Now, when it comes to like how a battle system wants to work, I kind of want to base it off of the game The Wild that I made about 5 years ago, because I think that'll be interesting. It'll be a lot of work, but reusing that code will make it a lot quicker for me to get this done, which will be a lot nicer, although it'll be quite a bit of work porting it to a way that I'm more happy with, because my code 5 years ago was not as clean or good as the code I do today. I'm thinking this will be kind of like a turn-based RPG in a way. So when it comes to the way that people function, I'm going to base everyone's attacks and things off of a playground game I used to play with my friends when I was in elementary school, because I think that'll be fun. So I'll base it off of that. The character I played in the game, I will probably base the original character off of, and I'll add more later on, which I think will be a little more interesting and more fun to work with. So we'll mess with that and see how it goes. Alright, so I got Unity to load. I do want to see how this old game worked. It's been a very long time since I've tested this. So there we go. Here was the original area. It was kind of like a lab building, so I built a few things. And here's a call. You get some little information there about what you're doing. It's kind of like a mission system. It was never really completed. And then you could do a battle, which kind of worked, but the system's broken because I don't have a web server running. That was the idea originally. I think I can reuse some of this stuff. So if I look at my scripts, I had done a few of these. Okay, I have no comments whatsoever. I have a scene, which is a sample scene, actually. If I F2 that, I'm going to call this map for now. Control S. So we have our Unity game. I don't want this main camera. It looks reasonable. I'll use that. We'll see how this works. What I will do is create a cube. We'll make this 0.5 in height and 100 by 100. We'll create a folder for materials. Material. Round. I'm gonna make this an albedo of like a sure. Put that on that. We'll make it not smooth, not metallic, and we'll play. No cameras rendering. Aha. Camera is that. There we go. Now we have a character that can move around. At this point, I decide that I'm gonna make some terrain, get an idea for what this could look like. So at this point, I'm building a couple buildings, that sort of thing, and then I'm gonna build some trees, get an idea for what this game could be. Although I very quickly realized that I built these buildings absolutely way too big. Like, this is probably a 20-story building at this point. It needs to be slimmed down, which I do here. And I get it to a point where it matches the character quite closely, and I copy it over and build a bunch of trees and landscape, and that makes it a lot better for the game overall. Text. We have our text, which will be up here. Actually, that. So, yeah. Okay. Oh. Try. Hey. Git init. Git branch dash m main. Git add dash a. Yep. Oh, it's because it's open. Let me close Unity. -a. There we go. Initial init. Create a new repository. And create a repository. Git remote. Add origin. That git push -u origin main. Cool. Git checkout -b dev. Git push -u origin dev. Cool. Now, if I refresh, I have the game. Now if I go to settings, branches, add branch rule set, protect main, force and status active. So we're gonna add default branch, require pull request before merging, doesn't need to be approved, does not need to be signed. Okay. Create that. So now main is protected, so that can only be merged by via pull request. If I look at dev, this will be where I work on the game. At this point, I now have the basics of a game. I'm pretty much set up on GitHub, and I have edited the first half of the video, but now I'm at a point where I need to start getting ready to go to class, because I have a lecture I need to go to. So what's probably going to happen is I'm going to go to class, get lunch, and then we'll see. I think I have a homework assignment, so I'll probably try to get that done so I don't have to worry about it, and then I'm going to go work on the game a little more. So we'll see how it goes. At this point, I ended up just setting up a Trello board, which is just a way I can track for what I need to get done, what I'm planning on doing. And after that, I get ready to do a little bit of game work. I noticed that a lot of my text code for the version text was not so great, so I ended up cleaning up, updating it to get it to work, and that should make it a lot better to work with. Alright, so I went into my old game and grabbed a few of my old server files. None of this is secure whatsoever, but it'll be a good starting ground to just get something there. I want to test this in the old game first to see if this still works, and then we'll move over to the new game. So I'd probably want to add my battle controller, because I haven't used this in a very long time, so I need to make sure this works. Okay, so if I test this, I connect to a server. Connect to local server host. We'll add an attack. We'll call this bite. This has a minimum attack of 1 and a max of 5. So now, if I look in my database, we have an attack, which has a minimum damage of 1 and a maximum of 5. At this point, I ended up going and just getting the old game to work, testing it out, seeing how it works and how I could implement it into this game, which helps to a certain extent, but it will make it a lot easier to implement this feature. So let's get back to the actual game. Now that the game's working, I'm working now on cleaning up the game and getting it functioning with the battle controller. Not looking good, but functional to where I can get a health of the user and a health of the member. I didn't want to have to worry about account stuff yet, so what I ended up doing is creating a developer tool that just went and allowed me to give the player health and set the player in battle and do a couple other very basic things that I just wanted to do to get this going, just so I could see that the system was working and I could implement it for realsies later. I'll probably clean this up in a way that is reusable instead of just having the one battle, which will make this a lot easier to handle in the future. So I think that'll help. Alright, after that I ended up just posting GitHub and getting everything good. At this point, I think this will be the end of this episode, because I'm getting tired, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Alright, good night.